Are Hobgoblins for the Chaos Dwarfs any good? The bottom line? Their situation. How? Stay tuned. I decided to cover all Hobgoblin units at once after having tried far too many times to beat the Satan the Black campaign into shape, where you're expected to use a lot of Hobgoblins. So my experience is extensive. I'd rather say this segment with several broad strokes. Hobgoblins are great for general work against low to medium armored targets. Sadly, you don't encounter much of that in a lot of campaigns these days. More specifically, you might have some limited instances, but any little Norskin or Warriors of Chaos settlement is going to have Chaos Warriors in it. How do Hobgoblins deal with that? Well, basically, they don't. Either you have the typical Chaos Dwarf solution to every problem, a blunderbuss unit you pray hasn't been targeted, or you spend a long, fruitless battle plinking flaming arrows off shields and doing ineffective combat in melee. What I'm saying is, the Hobgoblin roster does not work without other parts of the Chaos Dwarf roster, and this is by design. There are two stages of Hobgoblin armies. One is as auxiliaries in the way Roman armies had them: skirmishers, flankers, light combat. The other is when Gorda's backstabber is in the house, and in that case they have ridiculous potential. I still maintain it is only in the rarest of cases that you would dare to use them alone. Basically, a steal a settlement with stealthy gets scenario. Above 50% HP, the backstabber ability makes Hobgoblins 30% more vicious, which is great, but it also emphasizes how squishy they are. You can have them fight hard for you, but anything the slightest bit exotic, lords, black orcs, any kind of cavalry or artillery whatsoever, concentrated archer fire, they just have a hard time. They need somebody else to be the front line, either tough as stone dwarf warriors or your meat shield laborer units. Gordas eventually gets a skill to make every Hobgoblin unit hidden, but that means he's in that particular army. As fun a hero as he is, he makes Hobgoblins better. He does not make them into armor-piercing monsters. Ideally, they shred lightly armored foes from the back and sides. That's their strength. Sneaky Gits give you three things and take one away. They offer dual weapons, precursor weapons, and poison. They lose shields. So basically, they're ninja Hobgoblins. That's okay. They're not bad. But again, I emphasize they're heavily tilted toward base damage. They let you do weird flanks that other stuff won't let you try, or at least not easily. The big thing to know about the archer units is that they're all flaming arrows. That's a good thing against trolls. It's not bad against stuff like Chaos Spawn, with low armor. But obviously a lot of stuff will resist it. Again, no good armor piercing. It's a theme. At least archer units are likely to keep the backstabbing bonus up for longer. A lot of guides are telling you not to use Wolf Riders and Wolf Riders with bows. I'm going to offer a counter-argument. There are situations where you desperately want the one thing that the roster has a hard time giving you: speed. It's hard to get that, and you can't get it from laborers, and you sure can't get it from dwarfs themselves. Speed lets you at least have a shot at biting at artillery, and if it costs you your riders, so be it. Seriously, you don't have good stuff for taking out artillery in this roster. It's annoying. You have to get creative. The steal a settlement scenario also ideally makes use of the speed provided by these units. Eventually your other stuff should catch up on a mad flank, but once you have Gordas making 95-ish speed Wolf Riders hidden except at close range, they can zip up a side and take the victory point and camp there. And enough of them will still make it hard for isolated units to fight back, even armored ones. Cycle charge with Gordas' bonuses to charge damage, and you can steal some settlements this way. It might not be easy, but at least it's a possibility. More generally, at least this way you have a realistic shot at taking out archers and light artillery in the back of the enemy. This brings us to my last point. During early parts of the game, you may find it necessary to have Gorgas in your main army, but later on you might want him to be giving his benefits to a secondary army, stalking around your main one. This army can drown minor settlements, raid for laborers, or bring in covert Wolf Riders for artillery assassination, in ways your main army can't be bothered to do. Sometimes, this is a good and sound strategy. Over the long haul, Hobgoblins are good for expansion armies, but past a certain point, Chaos Dwarfs actually have serious challenges generating enough gold to be comfortable. Often you're saving money by not having an extra Hobgoblin army causing chaos. Everything except the Wolf Riders comes from a Tier 1 building you can build just about anywhere. And that's by design. Hobgoblins help you take newly conquered territories, but don't be afraid to bench them if you have to. You can always get more, and with Rhodas around, they'll hit a lot harder than they quote-unquote should. Just remember they will not do everything. The rest of the roster has a purpose. Otherwise we'd be talking about the Chaos Hobgoblins, and that would be silly. Take care.